Today we're talking to Ian Martin of TriColor Flooring. Over the last 30 years, Ian has provided wood flooring and tiling services to thousands of clients in Florida. Let's go learn from a true master of his trade.
You don't need to put out a ton of money, man, to get started. That's the thing, because if you're in water, if you're underwater going out, you're going to stay underwater going through. So this $5,000 or $10,000, you could literally start a business with that if you're not too flashy.
So Ian, you have a background that is authentic and unique in the flooring industry. Can you tell us about your time in Ireland learning the trade?
It all started back in actually the late 80s. My father, I suppose the handyman of the town where I was from, and the weekends, he worked in a tool hire place during the week from Monday to Friday.
Okay.
So back in them days, tools were very hard to come by. So my father had the advantage of at weekends and evenings we could go out and he'd have a handyman job. So he started doing flooring and tiling at the weekends. And when I was 13 or 14, I'd tag along him and go to these jobs, and he showed me how to refinish floors, how to install them, how to do tiling. So that's, you know, for years I did that with him. And then at 19, I came to America. Back then it was more refinishing, because the floors back in them days was all wood, solid wood flooring. So you do a lot more sanding and staining and varnishing and that sort of thing, where now that's a long lost trade now, you know.
You know, as you mentioned that, obviously times have changed. What do you see today in the different level of craftsmanship and that's different than when you started?
I think the attention to detail is, now it's just square footage numbers game, you know. People want you in and out, they don't want to stop and think, you know, and that's where, you know, you have to slow down and look at the quality of work you're doing, because that's, you know, that you're good at your job. And at the end of the day, if the guys are going in and just seeing dollar signs and running out the door and getting a check, then the problems start arising 6 or a year down the road. It's, you know, the homeowner has to deal with that then. So now, so my crew, my guys, man, I tell them if it's a 3-day job, I put in for 4 days. I'll put an extra day in, because you got to slow down and look what you're doing. Back in the day, that was the thing. Your trade was, you know, my father showed me that take your time and do it right. The first time, you won't have to go back the second time, you know? Yeah.
Well, one of the reasons why we started this YouTube channel is because we wanted to give people a window into different trades. What advice would you give to a young man or woman that's looking to get involved in trades today?
I suppose they learn your trade, but I mean, you know, again, in America, trade schools are not hard, it's hard to come by, you know, and that's the thing that is lacking in this country. If you had more trade schools, I think that the younger crowd or the younger generation would take more advantage of that. But getting into it, it's learn your trade and then learn it good. The problem is educating you into the business end of it too, man, which is, you know, you learn a trade, you got that down. Where do I go from there, you know? And that's the hardest thing. There's not a trade school to learn you this process. So, you know, like flooring it's a hands-on trade. You learn on the job. So you're brought in as a laborer, and you're learning the process as you go.
So you talked about controlling expenses and being frugal when you start out your business. Were there any mistakes that you personally made when you were starting out that, you know, our viewers could learn from?
You have to have money in the bank, because the thing is, when you're doing these jobs, unforeseen circumstances can come very quickly at you. So you might have a customer that, you know, might not pay their bill. Right? So you could be in a hole for 5,000 or 10,000 very quickly, because you go do someone's job, and for one reason or another they can't pay you. Then you have to get a lawyer and all that. So you have to put enough buffer between you and that. Because if you don't have that, you don't have money in the bank. So you have to say, the first year of business, all you're doing is put money in the bank, man, and not to get a credit card debt and all that. That's going to come. Because, you know, as you get bigger, more, you know, expenses come. Right? And, you know, you have to deal with that. But starting out, you got to have that buffer, because if that job does come and you don't get paid on, you don't have that buffer, you're done. All right, you're under. So you have to think about that job is going to come. That problem might come. Hope to God it doesn't, but if it does, you're ready for it, and you'll go through it and you get to the far side, and then, you know, you have to, you know, go from that mindset. But yeah, you gotta save like a lunatic and keep your costs down, expenses. As I tell the guys, you don't need flashy, you don't need big, you don't need anything, man. You just need to get up and work in the morning, get to the job and get home. Yeah. Whether that's on a bicycle or a van or whatever, man, you just got to get there and get home, man, you know.
So, you know, we talked about vinyl flooring a little bit. Can you step us through all the services that you provide for TriColor Flooring?
Yeah, we do refinishing of floors. I mean, I've done that 8 years of my trade was refinishing of floors. So I have, believe it or not, I have a sander and all that I bought years ago. We do that refinishing, we do carpet, we do tile, we do wood, we do laminate, we do vinyls, we do baseboards, we do chrome moldings. Basically anything you gotta do with flooring, man, I'm in on it, you know. If I haven't got it here, I can get it. Sure. But we, you know, residential, commercial, you know, whatever you need. Linoleums, vinyls. We try to cover all the bases of what people need, you know. And it's just, there's so much more stuff on the market.
Sure.
It's just, you know, it's hard to keep up with it now, but yeah.
As you've seen things change over time, what are some issues with craftsmanship that you see from other contractors or you've seen over your career that is different from when you started to now?
Going back to that, man, detail, man, you know, your warranty on these floors. They'll give you a 25, 30-year warranty, right? Sure. That is only as good as the guy putting it in. Okay. Okay, if that warranty is only as good as me.
Right.
Because they will send out, if I have a problem with the floor, they're going to send out their own inspector. He's going to come out and find problems. That's his job, to find problems in the installation, right? Yeah. So if you're not doing, what they're doing now, they're getting, again, they're racing into jobs. They're not leaving gaps around the wall for expansion. They're not leaving the doorways. They're not taking a minute to think about what they're doing. They're getting a check around the door. So I'm telling them to slow down, and then you know, that way then you're covering yourself and the customer. Yeah. The customer is that's your focus here, man, because you know that warranty is their warranty. Sure. But they're going through you to get it in. So tell them to slow down, think, and that's where you have to, attention to detail is everything, man. Absolutely everything in this trade, man, you know.
Well, since you deal with a lot of homeowners when you're putting in flooring, are there some common misconceptions that they have about flooring where you have an opportunity to educate them?
The maintenance of it.
Maintenance, okay.
No, this is, I didn't think this years ago. I would, you know, I have to school people on this because the vinyl flooring has a wear layer on it, right? Like the glaze on a tile. That's 12 mil, 20 mil. It's a different thickness, each, you know, depending on the one you pick out. You go into Home Depots or Lowe's or any big box store, they're going to sell you all this other Murphy's oil soaps, rejuvenators. You'll see the whole aisle. Boom. Okay. All got to do with cleaning the floors. Right. When you go in and put that stuff on this floor, okay, you're putting wax on your floor, right? Mm-hmm. When that is, it puts a film on a coat of wax on the floor, your warranty is gone. Oh, okay. Your warranty is gone because that inspector is going to come out and do an inspection to see was there wax put on the wear layer. If there was, that's it. He's a little tester kit for that. Interesting. And that's. Did not tell you this, but you know, so you have to educate them only to use mild soaps, like you're washing with a mop. Less is more. Keep it simple, but don't walk by the aisle every time you walk into the store. You don't need it, man.
Since you got started in the industry, how have the materials that you're using changed over time? You had mentioned that it was wood flooring in the beginning. What are the materials like now that you're installing?
Well, it went from wood really to laminate flooring was a big thing then, you know. Laminate was the new thing on the block, the new kid on the block, I suppose. You know, while wood and tile was always been around, that's your basic, and carpet, I suppose, your basic tree. But then laminate came in, and the reason why laminate was so popular was because it was so quick to put in, it was cost effective, you're not losing glues, you're just, you know, floating the floor on a pad, and it was probably half the price of wood because it's compressed paper. That's what it is with a picture of flooring on top. That's all. That's what laminate is. But that was a big thing for years. Now, about 9 years ago, vinyls hit the market, and a vinyl is, I suppose, a mixture of the wood, tile, and laminate in conception in one flooring now, because you've that waterproof, scratch resistance of tile, and the look of wood, and the installation of laminate all in one product. So this product here came out, you know, again about 8-9 years ago, and it's overtaken the market. So this is probably going to be in for the next foreseeable future. There's nothing out there. They're bringing out a whole new line of tiles, laminate or vinyl tiles. They look like wood, and you have the wood look, and you have all sorts of different patterns and everything. Yeah, so vinyl is a new new kid in the block, I'd like to think.
All right. What's the simplest way to get started? So if you're looking to get started, you know, coming out of high school,
right,
would that be to go and work for a company, or?
You have to, yeah. You have to, well, I mean, again, the flooring trade or tiling and all that, you're going to have to work for a company. You're going to have to get in as a laborer to start, and then you're going to, you know, you're going in and you're doing a demolition of the house, taking up the carpets, getting things prepped for the installers to come in.
Sure.
And then you're bringing the materials into them as they're installing. So you're just the guy moving things around, cleaning up and all that.
Right.
That's probably the first 6 months or a year of what you're going to be doing. And it's not very fun, or, you know, it's not very, very educational, but then, you know, you're watching them do their job. Yeah. And that's what you're picking up on, and that's, you know, that's your training. And then they'll bring you in and they'll start giving you little odd jobs to do, and then you learn how to do cuts and that. So over the I'd say about 4-year process, a tradesman, I suppose, then at the end of it. And then you know, when you're working with these guys, they will they'll school you on how to get into the business of being in business. So how to start a company, you know, like you go on Sunbiz, you know, they talk to the guys or the owners of the company, and that they'll educate you on that side if you hang with that company, you know.
So not just the craftsmanship of actually installing the floor, but how to be a business owner. Right. That's what you learn from them.
They'll point you in the right direction.
Sure.
You know, you know, the owner of the business, if you're doing your job right, you show up on time, he'll give you more, he'll give you his time. Yeah. Right, and then he'll educate you on that. But you know, starting out, and networking is a big thing in any trade, man, because it doesn't matter what you know, it's who you know.
When you're ready to go out on your own after you've gotten some of that experience working for a company, are there any type of like special tools or equipment that you would say for someone starting out, what do you need to get started?
I see young people now, they're driving around $80,000 trucks, man.
Sure.
All right, they've got huge payments.
Right.
The best of everything. And I started out at a $2,000 truck, as a 15-year-old truck, man, you know. I got second-hand tools, I got whatever it needs. You don't need the best of everything starting out. So the tools you do need, you know by when you're working on the job, what the guys have, chop saws, skill saws, table saw, all that, you know, all that general stuff. But you don't need to put out a ton of money, man, to get started. That's the thing, because if you're in water, if you're underwater going out, you're going to stay underwater going through. So just $5,000 or $10,000, you could literally start a business with that if you're not too flashy and going around your big, you know, $80,000 truck and all that. Keep it simple, and there's tools out there. You get second-hand tools, you go on the markets, you get on, you know, there's cheap place to buy tools. You don't need the best of everything starting out. Keep it simple, and then graduate from there, you know.
When you're gonna price out a vinyl job for a customer, what is the process that you go through for estimating the cost? You know, materials, time on work, you know, things like that.
Doing an estimate, I just go in and, you know, you go in and you have 2 parts of an estimate: rip out and installation. Okay. So you go in and you know, measure the rooms for rip out. I charge, I think, $75 to take each room of carpet out. So I have a set price. If you have furniture, it's $50 more. So I just have that going in, and I write that down. There's 4 rooms of carpet. Sure. Then you have wood, you might have tile, you might have, so then you rip out of that, or we can go over that with the vinyl. So that's the first phase, that's the rip out, and then you have the installation part of it. So then you're gonna measure the whole house for, again, they might be putting carpet back in them rooms, so you have separate for that. And the vinyl, then you do the measurements for vinyl. And then lastly, you'll be doing the transitions at the doorways, at the front door, sliding doors, and in the quarter round or baseboard. Okay. Depending on the look they're after at the end of it, yeah. So there's 2 phases to it, really. And then I suppose your customer's budget. Sure. Don't sell up here where your client's down here. This is a big problem, a lot of people. They go in with a Mercedes car and they're not even looking for a Volkswagen, I suppose, right? So that's, you got to keep that in perspective with your client. They're not asking for $1 million show home, they're looking for something that's you know, works for them. Sure. Yeah. You
do new installs. Do you do repair work as well?
Yes.
How does the process of doing a repair job and estimating the cost of that differ from, you know, a new install that you'd be going into?
Well, there's a $300 minimum for me to send out a guy to your house to do any repair, and that's, you know, I don't make much money off that. That's so we estimated 300 minimum. That'll give them maybe 7-8 hours work. Okay. The guys can do a repair and that, no problem. You know, any small repair. Sure. But I don't make a lot of money off repairs. Repairs are not my staple diet, man. But you know, They go out, but when we do that repair, the customer they appreciate that. You're building up a client base.
Sure.
They're going to tell their neighbors and their neighbors' neighbors, their friends, their family, that this guy came out and did a massive job and repaired my floor only for $300, and that's what you're saying. Don't always go first, second, third, fourth base. Don't always look for the home run, man, in every job.
Sure.
So repairs, I don't make much money, but I go out and see that I'm meeting new people, meeting new clients.
Build loyalty, future customers.
That's right. You're building a network,
like
and you're networking if your clients, networking clients. Yeah.
So over the years that you've been doing flooring and tiling, there's obviously been some memorable jobs. Can you tell us about one of the more challenging jobs that you've ever encountered?
Well, the one I was actually on, I was installing on, that was only about 5 years ago. We got a job down in Miami.
Okay.
It was a Breitling store, tag watch store.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we had 2 days. They called me, we were supposed to have a week to do this whole process. It was like 1,200 square feet of flooring, and it was 2 inlays of carpet, and high-end job, Breitling and tag watch,
Yeah.
They're not giving that stuff away, so. No. But we had supposed to have a week to do this job. We got down there, we had 2 days to put the whole thing together, and there was painters on the job, and it was it was like a zoo down there, and yeah, we worked 48 hours straight, man, and we were up there, and we were broken up at the end of it. But that was one of the hardest jobs. We got it done. Again, you have to get it done. There's no ifs, ands. You can't go running to your mom and dad and say, I'm not able to do it. You got to get it done. You got to get in there and get roll up the sleeves. So we had 5 guys down there, worked 48 hours, and we got it done. We got it done, man. Yeah, that was a pretty tough job. Man.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
2 days was 2 days work. Well, 5 days work in 2 days. Yeah.
As you've grown and built a team to work with you, what have you found important when hiring new employees and making sure that they have the same attention to detail and level of craftsmanship that you have?
When I'm starting a new company, a new installer or a new sales rep, again, attention to detail is everything, right? So
sure.
I'll bring the sales rep in there and I'll tell me about the flooring, tell me about what you're selling. I mean, because you have to educate the client. Even though now with YouTube and the client is educated, believe me, they're in there looking around before you get there to ask you questions. So you got to be educated. You got to give them peace of mind that the product you're selling is what they want, and it's they're getting value for money and everything else. So that's the sales reps part of it. The installers, I will send them, but I will send one of my other installers from another crew with them.
Okay.
When they're starting out, and then I will check on them during that day to make sure all hell's not breaking loose.
Right.
And and then we'll ease them in that process. But the problem I have is people's homes, the security of your home is paramount over everything. Sure. Because that's all your valuables and all your stuff is there. My crew is going into work in your house.
Sure.
You're leaving your stuff all over your house thinking Ian's got this covered, right? Mm-hmm. And I do have it covered. That's my job.
Right.
They give you peace of mind, not just we're doing the flooring. There's a crew of guys walking around my house all day. So I got to make sure that we do background checks. We all that. A lot of crews are with me a long time now, 7, 8, 9 years, man. So I know it gives me peace of mind to send them in. So
yeah.
Where now is you're getting a rag tag. If you go to these big box stores, you're on a list.
Sure.
And God knows who's coming to your house, man.
Yeah. So obviously they're a satisfied client. When you deal with clients that aren't satisfied with your work, as a business owner, what's the process for dealing with them and making sure you
listen
leave with
to
a
your
good
client?
vision? Okay.
I mean, don't be. Yeah, I know you know everything about flooring and you spent your whole life doing it.
Sure.
Your client has a problem, listen to the problem. Don't look and say, well, I know the answer to it. There could be, with your ears open, not your mouth, I think, listen to your client. But always, again, I give a 5-year installation warranty with my floors. So anywhere from that time, if that job is not right, you call me. It's the best in the industry.
Okay.
5 years. I've clients call me after 10 years and say, Ian, there's a crack in my tile or there's something going on. Again, we'll go back to that repair thing. Mm-hmm. I'll go back out and I'll do it. And even if it's not my fault, it's not their fault, it could be the dog's fault, I don't, the thing is listen to them and help them and work with them and, and I do the repairs for free. Even after 10 years, I've always set up my crews to help people out. Listen to your clients. Even the client, some clients, are over and above. You cannot help them, in some of their needs, but 99% of the time, man, it's just an easy fix. Go out and listen to them and, a few hours work, it makes all the difference and you get great results out of that, man. For the client and your business will grow.
Sure.
Yeah.
Are you looking to start a new business or to grow an existing business? If so, check out the Heavy Eighth course, which shows contractors and tradesmen how to grow a business that generates millions of dollars per year. We'll put a link in the description below. Well, could you walk us around the store and show us some of your material and vinyl floors that you have? So what do we have here, Ian?
Yes, Steve, this is my tiling section of my showroom. This is like the dinosaur room, we call it now, because a lot of people have gone away from this concept into vinyls, but we still do get customers that like it and so want it. So we want to have here, this is the regular wood grain tile in different sizes and colors and shades, and you know, walk around here, the same thing here. Your conventional tile in two different, you got a gloss, a matte finish, you know, you got all different colors. More so, you know, the wood has the wood grain. This is straight color tones, what people like as well. You got the Carrera marble look here, you know, conventional tile again. This is here is probably more, we sell more of this stuff, believe it or not. This is your mosaics, your borders. You're doing bathrooms or, you know, kitchen counters or, you know, backsplashes and stuff like that. This is what we sell a lot of, this stuff here. Just to give different, you know, different dimension on the look of your bathroom and that. You put your border inlays in. Again, that Carrera marble look and your conventional colors here, your concrete look and slate look. Over here we have this new product, it's vinyl. And again, it's non-slip. It's actually harder. The glaze on the wear layer on this is harder than the glaze on a tile. So as far as durability, this outperforms that. The beauty about this is there's no grout or no tin set. There's no insulation as far as the conventional way of doing tile.
Sure.
And people, we can lay it and you can walk on it the same day. So you don't have to stay, if you're doing it in your house and you're living in your house or in the kitchen and that, you need that night. You can walk on this product after we put it in. You don't have to worry about messing up the installer's tiles. Yeah. And the other good thing about it, there is no grout. So what you have here is the locking system on the tiles, locks it together, and that gives you a waterproof seal. So there's no water can penetrate down, so you have to worry about that. And you know, everybody knows about the grout, the cleaning of the grout every few years, especially in the kitchen, high traffic areas, it can be a nightmare. So yeah, this is a new product, the vinyl product. Again, vinyl is the new way forward, but it comes, you know, in the Carrera marble look and a few other tones. But this is going to be, I think it's going to explode onto the market in the next few years, taking even more, another big chunk out of the tiling industry, you know. Okay.
Between the vinyl product and the traditional tile product, does the preparation of the floor change of what you have to do before the installation?
No, you should always go. I mean, the only thing, the difference is moisture. Moisture, you have to do a moisture test for vinyl on a concrete slab.
Okay.
And that's all installations. You don't have to do that with tile because tile can breathe. It's you know, it's sand and cement pretty much, you know, and it's harder in the kiln. So, but this here, we do a moisture check. You put a moisture barrier down, and then you install this floating. It's a floating floor. So when you got to make sure that you're not having valleys or rollings, you know, because it's got to be level to a degree that, you know, because if you have dips and hollows with this product, down the road it's going to start putting too much pressure on the joints and all that, and you're going to feel that, you know, you're walking on sand sort of thing, and you walk around and you hear the clapping noise and you walk around the house. Sure. With the tile you don't have to really do that because you have tin set that gives you a high bed, and you come across, you can adjust your tin set to the valleys and lows of a job. So that's the only difference. You got to use more you know, leveling compounds and that, and be more mindful, and a moisture test before you put it in.
Well, can you show us some of the other vinyl tile out here?
These are well, this is my laminate section. Laminate again is one of the things that about 10 years ago or 20 years ago exploded onto the market because it was the new product then. It was a new concept of the wood looking, but it was really easy to install. It was a very fast installation as far as, again, you just do a moisture check, put down your moisture barrier, and away you go. And then the same system as the vinyl is a locking floating floor, so one joint will lock into the other. And then, you know, you just go across the room that way. You start in one corner, work your way across the house. The downside of it is not waterproof, right? So when laminate gets wet, what it is compressed paper. So you look down there, that's paper, you know? Right. That's all laminate is, compressed cardboard or paper with a picture of flooring on the front. And the other downside, there's no wear layer on it, so it's very easy to scratch, you know? Where the vinyls have the wear layer, like the glaze on a tile. This here can scratch very easily, and then, you know, so that's a thing that's was big back in the day, but now it's starting to wave itself out. They are bringing in new products now. They see that the laminate companies are bringing in this waterproof ones, all right? So they're gradually coming back up. So now they're what, but they still don't have that wear there, so it's scratch a lot easier. Down here we have the wood section. Again, wood, we used to do a lot of wood, and we have a little section down there, but these 3 drops here is my wood section. Wood in Florida is not the greatest thing, especially bamboo. Bamboo is your enemy. Bamboo flooring in Florida is, because bamboo is grass. It is grass, okay? So it likes to soak in water, a sponge as such, right? And so when you put these very big box stores, you sell a lot of bamboo. And in Florida, because of the tropical climate, moisture, it soaks that energy, or that you open your door, all that moisture shoots into your house. So we're having a lot of problems. What I've seen here when I got here 10 years ago. But these are engineered floors, so these can go down here. What I mean is that there's a plywood backing on this with the wood on front. So it has about an eighth of an inch wood on top and plywood backing. That allows the floor to flex on both. And moisture. These are glue down concepts, so you have to put the glue down. In the glue, you have 3 types of glue. You got the moisture barrier glue, you got glue partly moisture barrier or no moisture barrier. Again, you got to go in and do a test of concrete and see where you are with the level of moisture. It's below 12%, you don't need a moisture barrier. You're a little bit higher, then you need barriers, you know. Then we have some carpets over here. You got plush carpets, you know, we do actually do a lot of plush carpet with the fleck, you know. People, this is new, actually this is only about 5 months old, this display. This is the new colors are coming in, these grey tones with flecks and all that, all these flecky sort of grey beige tones. So you can see there's not a lot of color here. It's only one, you know, it's one concept as far as the colors. But yeah, we do a lot of plush carpets. And then we have another carpet section here. This is the one with the colors on it. This one here, this display is 8 years old. You see a lot of colors here. You see all the different colors in this one. There's not a lot in that one. So it tells me this is the way the manufacturers are going forward. But we do still do, we do commercial, just commercial carpet here. We do, you know, for offices and that. And this is my favorite. This is what's called shag carpet. Okay, back in the 60s, we were in business, you know. Back now, but this is my most expensive carpet.
Is that right?
That's the most expensive carpet in the showroom. Can't sell a bit of it. I don't think I ever will, but it's nice to have it. It reminds me of the 60s, you know. Our carpet can breathe, so you put down the pad and you put down the carpet. If you have a little bit of moisture underneath that, it's breathing, so it's not going to trap the moisture. Now this is what I do. In the last 8 years I've built up, I'm one of the biggest sellers of vinyl. I have like 8 different manufacturers in here. The vinyl is, again, it's great for kids, pets. If you throw a bucket of water on this floor, on the vinyl floor, walk out and come back 4 days later and mop it up. You're not going to, it's no brainer as far as the maintenance of it, the cleaning of it. And the biggest thing, less is more. Again, it has different wear layers. The vinyls start at an 8mm wear layer and it goes up to 20mm. So that's the thickness of the scratch resistance on the front of it, right? So that is commercial is 20 and up. The floor in the showroom is 20mm, which is this floor here. So that's a commercial grade. So that's a high traffic area. Again, going into a doctor's offices, dentist's office. So a lot of people walking in all day long. It'll take the, you know, people walking with shoes or stones and bringing stuff in. It's, you know, a lot more durable. And that's, you know, 12mm is all you need for any home. I have 12mm in my house. I have it down 8 years, and you know, it looks like the day I put it in. I've got 2 pets and 2 kids that act like pets, and you know. But we got some new over here that I thought was pretty cool. What's called cement and slate. Yeah, it's a different look. It's a new concept as far as the vinyls are bringing out, you know. The problem with vinyls over the years that you couldn't, it was a one look deal, meaning you could only install it one way, okay? You couldn't do patterns, designs like wood. You could change, do herringbones, you can do basket weaves, you can do all different inlay, all different patterns. With the vinyls, you couldn't do that because of the locking system. You couldn't change that locking system. This company here, Gencor, has brought out the herringbone look. Okay, this is now, they've put the locking system on the top and the side, so that it all interlocks, so you can change, you can do these patterns. So it's a new concept, and you know, we actually did a few jobs like this, and actually it is really good. It looks beautiful, man.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Yeah, and it just gives you a different you know, look. And you know, this one here, the different patterns and all that. This is the same deal. It's all vinyl and it's all, you know, different looks and different patterns. And then we have the glue downs. These are glue downs down here. These are, again, more commercial, cheaper product because you don't have the locking system on them.
Okay.
You glue them together. So they're a lot cheaper, but a lot quicker to put in. A lot of commercial jobs, you know, a lot of offices and that, to put these in because there's not a lot of water.
Sure.
You're not going to worry about any of that. So they want a cheaper floor, but durable. You know, it's very durable. It has the wear layer on it, but it doesn't have that watertight seal. So it's just we just put that with glue. We had tariffs coming in on the floor, and the Chinese put the expenses on the containers coming in, so they offset the tariffs.
Right.
Flooring went up about 40–50% in that time. So I nearly took, you know, it was hard for me to swallow that, so I had to pass some of it on to my customers. So I said, why isn't there more made in America? Why don't we have flooring companies here, product, you know, factories here can make it?
Right.
And at least Happy Feet have heard me. They've started to bring out their own new lines now in America. They have it up in Georgia, and it's I'm more than happy to put that in because, and it's still on the same price terms as stuff coming from China.
Sure.
Made in America. You know it's made right, anyway, that's for sure, but it's just a whole new, I'm looking forward to seeing more of that coming to my showroom.
Very nice. Where do you see the future going? Obviously we've moved, you know, from traditional wood to laminate to vinyl flooring. Is there something that's just on the horizon that's coming out, you know, made in America, different things like that?
This is what I think in the made in America thing is going to sell.
Yeah.
You see, people will look at that. I've actually had a client last week, came in here, we got, I don't know, 300 samples in here.
Yeah.
She came in and looked at that sticker and bought that floor.
That was enough.
All right, not because of the color of it.
Right.
That sticker sold her the floor. I think that's going to be their new sales thing and made in America because, you know, we have to start, you know, bringing it back. And again, with the cost and everything else, if we get it in America, we know exactly where we're at as far as manufacturing.
Sure.
Quality's there, everything is on point. And so I think that's going to be the big sales thing going forward, man. Made in America, and you know, and it should be. Sure. It should be, man, because, you know, there's no reason why we can't do this in this country, you know?
Yeah. Well, Ian, as we wrap up and you think back about your successful time, 30 years in the industry, what is there one overarching concept or thought that has led to your success in the industry here, or to your own personal, you know, success?
Yeah, don't take anything for granted, man. I mean, you go in and you keep your expectations low. All right, and keep the money in the bank. I mean, I can't stress that enough. Don't get ahead of yourself. You know, keep your the win in your sales. You know, not going into a win. But yeah, I mean, it's a hard industry to be in. To be honest with you, because there's a lot of competition. Sure. A lot of guys work out the back of their vans and, you know, come and go, and, you know, but don't let that, you know, deter you from doing it, you know, and, you know, learn your trade, stick with it, do what you do, and if you're good at what you do, get out and meet people, and they will sell what you do, because you know, you have the mindset, and you have the, you know, that what people want. So.
Well, I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming in. I appreciate you coming in. Yeah, and looking at my products and everything else. And I hope to see you guys soon again, maybe, you know, in Ireland.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.